Welcome to Unbelievable Crime Documentary. Today's video is entitled The Deadly Doctor. Dr. Harold Shipman. In times of greatest vulnerability, doctors are meant to be there to aid. But Dr. Harold Shipman did more than just exploit his authority to deceive his patients. He went on to become one of the most prolific serial murderers in England's history. Before I get into the meat of the matter, let's backtrack to his upbringing. On January 14, 1946, Harold Frederick Shipman, sometimes known as Fred, was born into a working-class household as the middle child. His mother Vera loved him dearly. He was a promising student and excelled in sporting activities such as rugby. However, when Shipman was barely 17 years old, his life took a different turn. Shipman was particularly close to his mother Vera, who was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer that year. Shipman watched intently as the doctor gave her morphine to lessen her pain as she lay dying in the hospital. She succumbed to the disease on June 21, 1963. Devastated by her death, he was determined to go to medical school, and he was admitted to Leeds University Medical School for training 2 years later. He met his future wife, Primrose, at the age of 19, and they were married when she was just 5 months pregnant. She was only 17 years old. Together, the couple had 4 children, and from the outside, Shipman's life appeared to be quite normal. After graduating in 1970, he worked as a junior physician for a while before rising through the ranks to become a general practitioner at a West Yorkshire medical facility. Shipman initially ran afoul of the law here in 1976. The young physician was discovered falsifying Demerol prescriptions for his personal use. Demerol is an opiate that is usually used to relieve severe pain. Shipman got hooked on drugs. He received a fine, lost his job, and had to go to a rehabilitation center. It was March 1975 when Shipman took his first patient's life, 70-year-old Eva Lyons. It was the day before her birthday. Shipman had enough diamorphine at this point to kill hundreds of people, but no one knew about his addiction until the following year. Shipman did not lose his membership in the General Medical Council, which oversees physicians, despite being sacked that year for falsifying prescriptions. A warning letter was sent to him instead. Investigators found that during the course of Shipman's decades-long terror campaign, he would frequently pause and resume his murdering spree. But the way he killed was always the same. He would prey on the defenseless. His oldest victim, Ann Cooper, was 93, and his youngest, Peter Lewis, was 41. He would give them a fatal dose of diamorphine and either send them home to die or watch them die there. It is estimated that he killed 71 victims in total while working at the Donnybrook practice, and the remaining number when running his solo practice. Of his victims, 44 were men and 171 were women. Nevertheless, in 1998, the growing number of deceased patients from Shipman's practice raised concerns among the undertakers in his Hyde neighborhood. Further investigation revealed that his patients' death rate was about 10 times greater than that of the nearby medical practice. After bringing out their concerns with the local coroner, the Greater Manchester Police were contacted. The simplest of investigations, such as determining if Shipman had a criminal history, were not performed by the police. Had they inquired with the medical board about the contents of his file, they would have discovered that he had previously falsified prescriptions. The crafty doctor had concealed the medical conditions of his victims. Consequently, the inquiry yielded no alarming evidence, allowing the ruthless physician to continue his work. After Shipman made the error of attempting to fake the will of Kathleen Grundy, an 81-year-old former mayor of his town of Hyde, his misdeeds were eventually discovered. Shipman took Grundy's will and selected the cremation box in order to conceal the evidence after giving her a fatal dosage of diamorphine. Then, leaving everything to himself, he utilized his typewriter to completely omit her family from the will. Grundy was laid to rest, and local attorneys informed her daughter, Angela Woodruff, of the will. She rushed straight to the police with suspicions of foul play. Woodruff stated that the whole thing was unbelievable, and it was unthinkable that her mother would sign the document, entrusting everything to her doctor. It didn't make sense for her to sign a document with such poor typing. Following the exhumation of Grundy's body in August 1998, diamorphine was discovered in her muscle tissues. On September 7 of that year, Shipman was then taken into custody. 11 more victims' bodies were unearthed during the course of the following 2 months. Additionally, a police specialist examined Shipman's surgery computer and found that he had entered fictitious information to back up the fabricated causes of death he had provided on the death certificates of his victims. Shipman maintained that Grundy was dependent on a substance such as heroin or morphine, citing his notes as proof. Police discovered, however, that Shipman had composed the messages on his computer following her passing. Authorities were able to corroborate 14 additional instances in which Shipman had administered fatal amounts of diamorphine, fabricated death certificates, and altered hospital records to indicate that the patients were actually dying. Shipman consistently refuted the killings and declined to engage with law enforcement or forensic psychologists. He yawned, sat with his eyes closed, and refused to look at any evidence when the police attempted to question him or showed him pictures of his victims. Shipman is thought to have killed between 250 and 450 people, although the police have only been able to prosecute him with 15 killings. Shipman was sentenced to life in prison in 2000 with the stipulation that he never be allowed to leave. He began his sentence in a prison in Manchester and ultimately ended up in Wakefield Prison in West Yorkshire, where he committed suicide. January 13, 2004, the day before Shipman's 58th birthday, he was discovered hanging in his cell. Before this, he had disclosed to his probation officer that he was considering ending his life to ensure his wife would receive his pension and lump payments. His murders raises the question of why he did it. Many explanations have been proposed to explain why Shipman felt the need to commit murder. Some speculated that he might have been seeking revenge for his mother's passing. Some are of more compassionate notion that he gave diamorphine injections to the elderly in an attempt to show sympathy that was misplaced. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.